Yep, let's flip it over. This mayor's agenda, City of Hannibal official city council agenda, Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, council chambers, 7 p.m. Ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Beach. Councilmember McCoy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson.
Here.
Councilmember Franke.
Present.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
And Councilmember Welch.
Here.
For being a quorum present, I call the meeting to order. I'll give the invocation. Heavenly Father, in our hearts we plan our course, but we pray that you establish our steps. I pray that we seek you for advice. Let us not make decisions based upon what we know, but let us act based upon your wisdom. Please guide us, Lord. We place this meeting in your hands. We place our hearts and our minds in your hands so that you may direct us. Amen. Former Councilman Knickerbocker, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got approval of the agenda. I've got one item. I'd like to move the library recognition to be the first item. Otherwise, everything is in order on your agenda.
So moved with the amendment.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Carries. We've got, let me find it here. And, Kevin Knickerbocker, President of the Free Public Library Board, will introduce Caitlin Greathouse as the Library Director. I think you've got a proclamation as well. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. We'll go back. We'll go back. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for having me tonight, Mayor, Council. I have 2 announcements and no requests, which I'm sure you'll be glad to hear. First, I would like to call our Library Director, Hallie Silver, to come forward, please. So for those of you that haven't heard yet, Ms. Hallie's going to retire on us, and tomorrow is her actual last official day. So we, as the library board, felt that she deserved some recognition for her many, many, many years of service, and our state representative, Louis Riggs, also felt so. So we have a resolution from the Missouri House of Representatives, Hallie. So whereas from time to time, the members of the Missouri House of Representatives are called upon to recognize the meritorious endeavors of outstanding Missourians, a task which this legislative body embraces with great enthusiasm. And whereas Hallie Silver will retire from her position as director of the Hannibal Free Public Library in Hannibal, Missouri on September 6, 2023, following 16 years of steadfast and admirable service. And whereas Hallie Silver is an outstanding individual who has faithfully performed her important duties and responsibilities with the utmost professionalism, conscientiousness, and fairness. And whereas Hallie Silver is known, admired, and respected for her helpful attitude and the friendly manner in which she has always greeted people in and around the Hannibal community, a unique quality that will be greatly missed by many. And whereas the holder of a Master's of Library Science degree from the Indiana University, Hallie Silver joined the Hannibal Free Public Library as Library Director in 2007 and has an impressive 46-year tenure since obtaining her degree. And whereas Hallie Silver will undoubtedly look back over the past years and reminisce about her many worthwhile experiences and her special relationships with revered colleagues while basking in the glow of a successful career now at its end. And whereas it is entirely fitting and proper that this legislative body should pay tribute to Hallie Silver, a remarkable Hannibal citizen who continues to serve as an inspiration to all those who know and love her. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Missouri House of Representatives, 102nd General Assembly, join in the expressing deep gratitude for the superb service that Halliant Silver has rendered to Hannibal Free Public Library during the past 16 years, and in wishing her ample opportunity to enjoy the better things life has to offer. And be it further resolved that the Chief Clerk of the Missouri House of Representatives be instructed to prepare a properly inscribed copy of this resolution for Halliant Silver, offered by Representative Lewis Riggs, District Number 5, State of Missouri, and signed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Hallie, thank you for your many years of dedicated service. I've been a dedicated library patron since I was a kid, riding my bicycle from out in Oakwood all the way into the library for many, many years. And I know you and I are both lovers of books, handheld books. And so I want to thank you for your many years of dedicated service to the library and your outstanding, distinguished career. All right, thank you. My second announcement is, most people probably know, but we want to make it official. As Hallie is retiring, the library board has offered the position of library director to Caitlin Greathouse. Caitlin, step up. And Caitlin has accepted our offer to be the library director, and her first official day as library director will be Thursday, September 7th.
They told me you can't think
And that will conclude my portion. Thank you. Thank you for your consideration and putting us forward.
Okay, we'll go back and pick up the minutes. Need a motion to approve the regularly scheduled council meeting minutes of August the 15th, 2023.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Then approval of the payroll and claims for the second half of August 2023. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there any discussion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilman Veach. He texted me earlier today, kind of down the back, and didn't think he'd make it up the steps. So make a motion to excuse Councilman Veach.
Did you make the motion? Or you're looking? Oh, I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries. Linda Spahn, Scott's Chapel, request a street closure and the annual block party. Linda?
Good evening. I am Reverend Helen McFarland. Linda's sitting back there. I am the pastor at Scott's Chapel United Methodist Church, and we are making a request to have the 1800 block of Hope Street blocked off on September 23rd. It's a Saturday, from about 8 o'clock or 8:30 to say 3 o'clock. We are having the annual block party. It's a party that you all are invited to. There will be games for kids and adults. There will be the ambulance, the fire truck, and the DARE officers, so that children and adults can get an up-close look at devices that they might be in sometime in their lifetime. We're also having lots of free food. If you like hamburgers, hot dogs, funnel cakes, nachos, cotton candy, slushies, and snow cones, you got the right place on that Saturday. Wow. And it's all free. It's one of the outreach programs from Scott's Chapel United Methodist Church. So thank you for your consideration of closing the street off on that Saturday.
I have a quick question. How many years is this? Because I remember probably 10 years ago when I was a firefighter, bringing fire trucks down there. So I know it's been going on for a long time. Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a long time. So thank you
I
for
was
that.
here last year making the same request as their new pastor, so Linda is their retired pastor, and so we have,
Sure.
she's had it for 14 years, and I've had it now for 2 years, so anyway, thank you for your consideration.
Before you leave, could you spell your last name for me, please?
McFarland.
Just want to make sure I had it right. And then I want to, counsel, the request times on the application was 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., but she has requested 8:30 to 3. So
Well, it may take us longer to set up than
that's fine. I just wanted to make
because we
sure-
have more things, so,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that they had heard the change in time.
right. If that works for you all.
Any questions? And I think everything from the administration was positive, so
Make a motion to approve a request of street closure on Hope Street from 8:30 a.m. to 3 on Saturday, September 23rd.
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion
Thank
carried.
you so much, and come.
Thank you. Next is Jamie McCoy for Hannibal J.C.'s, and Jamie couldn't be here tonight, so Daryl will be.
You got the uglier McCoy tonight, I'm sorry. She, somebody has to be softball mom tonight, so. Yep, I do have the next two on behalf of the Hannibal J.C.'s and my wife, Jamie McCoy, request for street closures tonight. The first one is for the Halloween parade on Saturday, October 28th, from 5 to 7 p.m. And you want to do that one first, and then we can do the second one, or?
We can do them together.
Okay. And then the second one is, again, for the Christmas parade, the Hannibal J.C.'s annual Christmas parade, Saturday, December 2nd, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
As it has been in the past, so.
Many, don't put me on the spot and ask me how many years, because I don't remember.
Does anybody have any questions?
Make a motion to accept both.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
John Lawrence, 3427 St. Charles.
Thank you. Yes, I own a piece of property at the corner of 35th and St. Charles. And I'm here to talk about a piece of property at the corner of 35th and Market Street. What I commonly call, and many people in that 5th Ward call it, a junkyard. It used to be the old Adams high-class grocery store in the old days. This is a sore eye. Mr. Welch is aware of it. I've talked to him in the past. I've been at this for a considerable amount of time. I think it's time that we review some ordinances. We all know there has to be some changes. I tried to get a count tonight, but I'm going to take a guess. There's probably 45 pieces of junk sitting on this lot, many of which have not been moved since that lot was opened up. The important part for me is I built a garage 4 or 5 years ago, and I cannot get my boat in or out of my garage because this guy is persistent. He's going to park his junk vehicles up to the alleyway. Therefore, I haven't been able to get this boat out of my garage for a little over 4 years. I just feel that it's time we do something. May it be ordinance changes, whatever. If he's licensed right to be having a junkyard there, that location, I would appreciate some consideration for this situation, that not only myself, many people in the neighborhood, and it's without a doubt hurting the value of our property out there to see the way this looks. If anybody hadn't been there and seen it, I mean, it's right on Market Street. It's one of the first things we see when we come down Market. I'd appreciate some consideration. Talk to me about it.
City Attorney.
I'm somewhat familiar with the situation.
couple of issues. One, under our ordinances, any auto repair place and auto sales place is exempt from any requirements regarding non-licensed or not inoperable vehicles. You may want to change that. The building inspector and I have looked at it, and we think as the ordinances sit right now, this particular property is in compliance with the law. Now, the building inspector, I don't think it's appropriate for he and I to sit down and figure out how many vehicles is an appropriate number of vehicles or what the rules are, et cetera, et cetera. If the council wants to give us some direction and wants us to make such a change, I'm willing to do it. In regards to access, I have to say this, Mr. Lawrence, there's nothing this council can do that will force that gentleman to let you pull onto his lot. I mean, I know that you guys have conflicted, and I know I've been told that he intentionally parks his vehicles there to keep you from pulling onto his property. I think you're right. I think you're right about that. But the problem is, it's his property, and I don't know that there's anything this city can do to force him to give you access. You could perhaps purchase an easement from him or figure something else out.
I tried that. He said all he wanted me to do was die. I'm fed up with him. There's one way or the other.
I know that's not funny, but that's not a nice way to speak, is it?
It's beyond the funny part.
I understand that is very hostile. But my concern is, I don't want to mislead you. I don't know that there's anything the council could do that would enable you to have access, and it's always been my understanding that's your big issue. I'm not saying you don't care about how your neighbors look, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying, in regard to the access issue, I don't know that there's anything the council can do so long as you and this fella can't figure something else out. But in regards to the multiple vehicles, that's something we could change, but as the ordinances are written right now, there's basically just a flat exemption that says if you're selling cars or repairing cars, there's no limit as to what you can put on your, I guess your limit is how many can you squeeze onto the lot.
Even from a sore eye situation, I know you're aware of it. I mean, it's nothing but a damned eyesore. Excuse my language here, ladies and gentlemen. But this is not right.
I understand where you're coming from, Mr. Lawrence, and the issue is, I didn't draft those ordinances. They either predate me or it's part of what Jeff Lagarce did when he changed all the nuisance ordinances regarding, he had those issues about commercial vehicles and tractors and blah, 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 and he changed all that stuff up. I think this came about when he did that, but at any rate, the issue is the way the ordinances are written, it completely exempts those types of businesses from the typical nuisance ordinances that we could enforce stuff on. So I understand you're frustrated, and I understand you've been frustrated with the building inspector. He brought it to me. He's actually not the first building inspector to bring it to me.
I know, it's been going on for I've been through this for 2 cycles of mayors.
So we looked at it recently, I don't know, was that a couple of 3 weeks ago, and based on where the ordinances are right now, we don't feel like there's anything we can do from an enforcement standpoint, but if the council directs us that they want us to try to figure something out, or you want to give me some direction, I'm happy to work on ordinances.
They disabled vehicles?
Yes, 90% of them.
Some, it's my understanding that some don't run. Most of them are unlicensed. You know, the issue is the language in the ordinance. I had pulled it up because I figured somebody might ask me. Just a sec. The language in the ordinance is pretty wide, and it says, let's see, it's under the definitions, and it says, doggone it, under 31. Sec, I'm sorry. I had it pulled up and then I lost it on my computer. Damaged, disabled, or unlicensed vehicle means any vehicle which is not registered or is improperly registered with the state, has been inoperable for more than 72 hours, or is in such a state of repair as to be inoperable. And that's great. That's pretty clear. We can figure that out. But then it goes on to say, except those on the premises of a duly licensed automobile repair or sales business or in a duly licensed automobile junking yard. So That's our concern. This business is not licensed as a junking yard, and that's actually not what he's in the business of doing. He does do vehicle repairs, is my understanding. The issue, I think, would be that this ordinance as written gives a flat exemption and doesn't give any more clarification regarding, you have to work on them within 6 months, or you can only have 10 or 10 per area. There's things you could do, but it's nothing that I feel would be appropriate for me to make decisions. That's something for the council to direct me, and if that's something you all want me to do, I'll work on it.
I'm looking at council for direction.
I'd like to know what Mr. Welch, him and I haven't talked for quite a while, and he is my
Yeah.
councilman. I'd like to hear what he's got to say at
I
this time.
agree
now
with
that
you.
I've
It's
come down
it's
there.
unnecessary for those cars to be there, but
Pardon me?
it's unnecessary for those cars to be there, but that's his property and he does that for a living, so.
But if he's not a junk dealer per se,
Well, but
then
it
he ought
also
to be given so long to.
Perhaps, but not the way our ordinances are. It doesn't say that. So that was one thing that the building inspector and I had discussed was, what if we adjusted the ordinance to say, you got to work on the car within 6 months or a year, and I don't know what's reasonable. I'm not in the car repair business. I don't have any information on that. But if somebody wants us to work on it, we can, but again, we don't want to overstep our bounds. That's more of a council decision for something like that. Well, not more of, it is a council decision.
Hey, James, do you have any idea of how our ordinances compare to other places?
I have no idea. I haven't looked at it because you guys hadn't asked me to, and I know that's a cop-out,
No.
but no, I haven't
You
researched
can't know everything all the time.
Well, come on now, but no, I don't know the answer to that, Councilman.
I'm learning about this tonight, and I apologize that you have found yourself in an undesirable situation. But I can't make any grand edicts as one of a certain number of people. But beyond that, just because I don't know enough yet, so I'm thinking maybe the city attorney could do a reasonable amount of investigation on how other cities handle such situations and come back to us.
I think that's in order. And did you make it in the form of a motion?
Do you need us to make a motion?
I don't need a motion. I'll just work on it. Like I say, I just don't want to overstep my bounds. I don't want to do stuff that you guys go, no, don't do that. We like the ordinances the way they are.
Well, from my point of view, what do I have to do for you all? I'd like to see some ordinance changes, and I haven't heard anybody say, well, let's put in a request for ordinance changes.
So I think
what we're asking the attorney to do is to look at what some other cities do and come back and give us some ideas of what they do and then model something after that.
I think the concern, Mr. Lawrence, is none of us are in the auto repair business, and historically, when we who aren't in a business try to draft ordinances, then we make people mad who are in that business, and then they show up in the council chambers and yell and jump up and down. And so I think the council's issue is they'd like it to be at least something that's reasonable that's worked someplace else. People may still jump up and down, but at least if we can say, well, other cities are doing it this way, blah, 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 there's a little more basis, because again, to my knowledge, nobody up here does auto repair, so they've have never run an auto repair business. So I certainly wouldn't try to claim I knew how to do that or that I know what's reasonable or appropriate.
Right, I understand all the above here, but, if it wasn't for 45 or 50 pieces of material sitting out there on that parking lot, and the man doesn't do 3 or 4 per day if he's even there 5 days a week, which he's not, there's a lot of ifs and ands that don't add up for this young man, the way this is set up, and for what it does for our property value, plus the fact that I built this garage, which the building people and everybody approved that permit when it was issued to me, and now supposedly there's a guy that bought this piece of property that can legally keep me from getting in and out of my garage.
Well, and let's be fair. Your old garage pointed at the street, and your new garage points at the alley. And
That's
the alley's,
exactly right.
And the alley's too narrow because of the length of your boat. without swinging onto this fellow's property, is what I've been told. I didn't drive by and look.
You're exactly right.
Just both building inspectors have brought it to me, and both of them have described to me and kind of showed me pictures and stuff. So, but the problem is, like I say, I don't know that the city has any authority to force this fella.
Without ordinance changes?
Even the ordinance change isn't going to force him to give you access on his property. You know, I'm not saying that you might not have some ability through personal lawsuit. I don't know what that'd
Well,
be
that's
off the top of my
probably
head.
my
but-
next step if I don't make any headway here.
But-
I've
but-
been at this long enough, I thought I'd come down here and make this presentation, and if not, hire me an attorney, I guess, from out of town or
And
whatever. I don't
that
know.
might be the only recourse.
simplest way to go?
Well, it might be the only recourse in that I just don't think the city's got the power to force someone to let you drive onto their property.
I don't,
But the attorney will look at other cities, what they're doing in their
Yeah, I
ordinances,
understand that.
and we can have Mr. Welch keep you informed. Or not?
well, that'll be up to him. Like I
Okay.
said, he hadn't even talked to me, and
Okay.
he knows my situation
Okay.
for a considerable amount of time. I mean, I just don't for the life of me see how it can sit there and be a complete eyesore, and it's not the only one on Market Street anymore.
Okay,
I mean, we've got
You're
two or
gonna look
three
at-
others that are quite
Okay.
bad, you know.
okay, and that would
Maybe
apply to them
I'm too
also.
daggone proud for America's hometown to drive down Market Street and see what all this is.
I get it.
I'm trying to be
Miss-
fair.
Mr. Lemon will look into changing the ordinances, and that would also address those.
All right.
Thank you.
for your time.
Thank you.
AJ Virel, 215 Rolling Meadows, a request to serve alcohol at Fetty Orchard.
Yeah, good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Rialto again, just to request permission to serve alcohol at the Orchard on October 17th. Just
You have insurance on that? So far. Okay,
Just
all
need
right.
your-
Okay. Is there any questions of Mr. Virel? It's been done in the past.
yeah, just it's a formality, I know.
Okay. Looking for a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Lang.
Your Honor, members of the council, I regret having to take up the time this evening. I would much rather be talking to the police board. The council and the voters eliminated that some years ago, and that, of course, was against my recommendation. Nonetheless, on August the 23rd, I had tasks to perform on the south side of town. And I usually go down Main Street, and as I was going down Main Street, I saw that the Norfolk Southern Railroad crossing was blocked. Well, my problem was easy to solve. I just turned and went over the overpass there on 3rd Street. It didn't take me very long to complete my work, maybe 15 or 20 minutes, but as I came back, the train was still dead on the rails, as old railroaders used to say. It was still blocking Main Street. I don't believe it was blocking Center or Broadway, but it was certainly blocking 6th Street, 9th Street, and possibly it was blocking as far west as Warren Barrett and the south part of Glenville Avenue and the Elsie addition. And so, as a good citizen, I went to the police station and talked to the young lady there behind the inch-thick glass and said, I would like to report a crime in progress. I need to talk to a police officer. And she got busy trying to figure out how to get a hold of a police officer in the police station. And as it turned out, there was one handy. And I talked to that officer and I said, why don't we enforce the ordinance against the railroad blocking the public right-of-way for longer than permitted by law? And the officer told me, well, first of all, he said there's some federal problem with that. And I said, no, I don't think so. But he told me that the chief will not permit us to do that. And if you could arrange to have that taken care of, you would be my hero. And I said, well, I will go down to the city council and see what I can do. Section 24-2, obstruction of crossings. No person shall permit a locomotive engine or train or any part thereof to obstruct any street crossing in excess of 5 minutes. I ran into the same situation on August the 29th. On neither of these occasions do I know how long in total those blockages took place, but the officer that I talked to said sometimes they go on for over an hour. So what I'm here to suggest this evening is enforce this ordinance or repeal it. And if we don't do one or the other, it just leads to frustration of people in our community, and we have enough of that. The reason that ordinance is there is, number one, I suppose, because the citizens of Hannibal ought to have the right to use and enjoy the public right-of-ways, streets and highways in our community that we pay for. But more importantly, it's a public safety issue. If emergency vehicle, fire equipment, police vehicle, ambulance has to go all the way out, has to go all the way to the south end of Ely Street, up Viley or however, in order to solve a problem of a fire, a health emergency, domestic violence, whatever it might be on Ely Street, or if it's in the Elsie addition and the way is blocked there at where Lindell it proceeds, they have to go all the way down to Johnson Street and find their way there. And when they're going to an emergency, they don't know that they're going to encounter Norfolk Southern train that is parked and obstructing the right-of-way, contrary to laws made and provided. So what I'm asking you to do is make a decision one way or the other. Direct that this ordinance be enforced or repeal it. I'll leave I will surrender my last 14 seconds.
John, I can tell you that.
Still on?
No, well, you can sit down. I mean,
Well, if you're going to talk to me, I'll
I can tell you that the city manager has been in contact with the Norfolk Southern. In September, MoDOT's going to go out for bids again to replace the viaduct, which will, eliminate that crossing. And it's important that we keep the Main Street crossing open. And she's been in contact with them, as well as several others up here. And I think we've come to a resolution. The Norfolk Southern was going to issue a directive to their engineers to stop short of Main Street. Their red signal's just past Main Street, going east. And they usually stop there at that red signal. They'll stop short of Main Street. And it was also a subject, that the police chiefs talked about today in a meeting at the EOC. And, we're looking to work with the railroad to solve that problem.
If I may suggest, the best communication, in my estimation, with the Norfolk Southern, or if it's the Burlington Northern Santa Fe, is to hand the engineer a summons and say, 1, 2, 3, 4 intersections blocked, please remit $500, $1,000, $1,500, or $2,000. And that will go right to the front office really quickly. And so, rather than having more discussions, enforcing the ordinance, I think, would be your best option.
Thank you.
Is that the fee?
It would be, the maximum fine would be $500 per occurrence. The issue that you run into is.
I'm not advocating, I'm just
No,
making
no,
the
no,
case.
no, well, no, and this is going to be a shocking statement. I don't disagree with Mr. Ling.
No, whatever.
What was that, John? I know I always disagree with Mr. Ling, but I kind of agree that if we write some tickets to some engineers, we might get some attention. And I actually sent BNSF an email to that effect about a week ago. However, there are some federal regulations that say if a train is being repaired or if it's stopped for an emergency, that they can stop and block a crossing. And of course, that's what they're going to claim if we go and write tickets, is they're going to claim, well, there was an emergency or we were repairing the train. I'm not saying I'm afraid to prosecute it. I'm just saying in my prior experience, because this is not a new occurrence. They've gotten particularly bad now because, for instance, like BNSF has been building these trains that are 2 miles long. And because of that railroad bridge, they stop in ridiculous places because they don't want to stop on the bridge. And they end up doing things like blocking all of our intersections except for the highways. Because obviously they have overpasses, which is, as the city manager, and I think as John pointed out, it's a life safety issue, fire department getting across there, et cetera, et cetera. So it's something that we would like to work with them. I like John's idea, and I'm happy to prosecute tickets if the chief wants to do it, but there are some problems there, so.
Learned a lot again.
Okay, moving along, April Azate.
Thank you, John.
I'm going to apologize. Normally I have somebody holding the phone for the live, but I do not have my people here to hold it. Multiple council meetings, I've asked about city policies, rules, regulations, job descriptions, and/or powers of certain city officials and employees, as well as whose job it was to enforce them and why there hasn't been any consequences or repercussions. Several of my questions are either left unanswered, tiptoed around, the subject blatantly changed, or better yet, cut off completely and told my time is up. So once again, I would like to ask, are there any policies and rules and regulations that the city specifically follows?
That's so broad. I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, are there policies the city follows? Sure, but I mean, you'd have to talk about very specifics, and then if there's something specific that you think is a violation of policy, I'd have to look.
Policies in regards to city employees, city officials, job descriptions.
Such things do exist, but you know, I'd have to see specific complaints, and then we'd have to research it and look at it and blah blah blah. It's not as if
it's not
the
so
city
much
gets
about
lawless
complaints.
crazy,
It's not so much about complaints. I'm just wondering, like, for a new employee to come on, so they know proper procedures and policies in regards to everything, or a new council member coming on, like.
Sure. The city utilizes what's called the Employee's Guide to Success. It was drafted quite some time ago. It probably needs to be updated and redone. I know there's been some looking at that from the city manager's office, but I don't know where we are in that process. In regards to the council, there is no set of rules of order that the council follows. The charter and the ordinances say something to the effect of the council will create such rules of order as they deem appropriate. And there are some, it's a little unclear. We have in the past talked about possibly adopting some version of Robert's Rules of Order. We've also talked about possibly adopting Cannon's Rules of Order, which is what the Missouri legislature follows. But there's been no consensus on it, and it's never really been taken all the way through. So
Gotcha.
That's a very long-winded answer in an attempt to answer your question.
No worries. I'm actually glad that you brought up the Employee Guide to Success, because that was the next thing that I was going to bring up, because it's my understanding that that is the last form of policies that the city has been following.
The last formal employee policies, yes, I would say. I think there have been.
A couple meetings ago, I don't know if anybody else up there recalls, I asked about the Employee Guide to Success that I had accidentally stumbled upon on the city's website. Have any of you up there read it? Not read it? know what I'm
I
talking
used to
about?
have to follow it. I worked for the city for 10 years. I'm very familiar with it.
Okay. I just didn't know who has and
No, I haven't
hasn't
seen
seen
an
it.
updated version. I don't know when it's been updated, so I can't.
Just very small portions
Well, the
of it.
last
It's
time that it
pretty
was
much like what you saw.
revised was December 20th of 2016, but currently standing, this is the current policies, to my understanding, that we're following. So have you seen it?
To read something, though, is not to recall all of it.
But you're aware of what I'm talking about, and whether you have or haven't read it, you're aware of what I'm talking about.
Yep,
Okay.
I think it's 76 pages.
So I'm assuming you've read it.
Yes.
Okay. Lisa, have you read it? You have read it? Yeah, I know you have. Have you read it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. I've not read it, but I'm aware of it.
Okay.
I've read it too.
Okay. Perfect. How many of you know your rights and powers as council members, as well as what is and isn't allowed?
I don't believe that's addressed in the Employee Guide to Success.
We aren't employees,
Well,
technically, right?
no,
Correct.
I didn't. I'm saying
Yeah.
know your rights and powers as council, not in regards to this, separate. I'll repeat my question. How many of you know your rights and powers as council members, as well as what is and isn't allowed in regards to you all specifically?
To be fair, that's a little broad and vague, but I mean, generally, I think so.
Okay.
Make a motion to give April another 5 minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
You're good.
Thank you. The reason why I'm bringing this up, obviously, a lot of our ordinances, policies are not enforced. And I believe it was 3 or 4 months ago, it was brought up in regards to HR. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it not said at that meeting that the city manager was responsible for handling city complaints in regards to residents, employees, businesses?
I don't really know how to answer that
What
one.
we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, could you be, sorry, I'm not trying to
Broad.
be obstinate. But could you be more specific?
Who would be responsible for handling any issues with city employees, for example?
Well, there's kind of two umbrellas. I mean, one umbrella falls under the city manager, one umbrella falls under the city clerk. The city manager's umbrella is much, much larger. So,
There's also a chain of command.
correct, yeah.
Through the department heads and
Gotcha. So Lisa, you said that you've read this or aware of it in the policies and procedures. I'm assuming with you being one of the two that was just said that you're aware of like policies in regards to what isn't allowed, consequences, and how to address them, correct?
Again, that's a very broad statement, but
If somebody were to come to you with a complaint, you would be the one to address that situation, correct? Either you or Melissa would, I'm assuming, go to the mayor council, who?
not necessarily. I mean,
So it's your job to determine whether or not there's consequences?
no,
So whose responsibility is that then?
it depends on what level. I'll let you just get to your point.
April, I might be able to help out. If it is somebody who works directly for Lisa, my understanding is Lisa would handle it. If it's somebody who works for police department.
I guess my point is why are so many things not enforced in regards to ordinances,
You have
policies,
a specific example?
I mean, probably about 1 million.
April, I'm afraid you're going to have to produce at least a couple of them now. Do you have any now that you can present?
Overall, I think that our ordinances need to be updated, and more so updated before the election for the mayor. because I have brought up multiple times that per our charter and state laws, policies, the mayor is not to vote. And I've been told, yes, the mayor always votes. Well, I'm told, yes, the mayor votes. I'm well aware that he's voted. But per state law, he is not to vote unless it is a tiebreaker.
Respectfully, I'm going to have to disagree. And
If you want, I can read you the state code right here.
Here's the thing. We're a constitutional charter city.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been the policy that the mayor votes. The mayor's vote does not count except in the case of a tiebreaker. However, I can tell you, I have specifically litigated cases in which the judge said the mayor should have voted, and we said, but wait, the same thing that you're saying, the mayor's vote doesn't count, the mayor shouldn't vote except in the case of a tiebreaker. I've had a judge tell me, you're wrong, that's not what that means.
Why doesn't the state change that if that's such an issue? My thing is, okay, if the mayor's vote doesn't count, then why is he voting at all, him or her for that matter, unless it needs to be a tiebreaker?
It's an excellent question, and my answer to you is, I don't know. That's how this city has always had the mayor vote. Palmyra, for instance, who I'm also the city attorney for, the mayor does not vote except in the case of a tiebreaker.
Well, I just think that it's very, very important before this election that the ordinances are updated, modified for his or her position, so they know their duties and what powers that they have, because everything in regards to several different ordinances is so muddy clear that I think it would only make things easier for you guys and better for everybody in the community as well.
Thank you, April.
Thank you. Under my name, I have approval of appointment for second reading for the Hannibal Housing Authority, and this is for the resident representative, Kara Belcher, for an appointment for a term to expire April of 2027. Need a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No? Okay, motion approved. Then for a recommendation for a first reading for the Hannibal Visitors and Convention Board, Katie Ayers Welch for an appointment for a term to expire September of 2027. No roll call on that, it's a first. For the Airport Commission, for a first reading also, Maria Coons for an appointment for a term to expire September of 2025, and Andy Fishback for an appointment for a term to expire September of 2026. Again, no roll call there, it's a first reading. Lisa Peck, City Manager, funding for application for St. Elizabeth's Hospital Project.
Good evening. I have before you tonight the documents necessary for the developers to submit their funding applications for the St. Elizabeth's project. As a reminder, the project consists of 6 affordable single-family homes for working families and 60-unit readaptive reuse of the historic St. Elizabeth's Hospital for seniors 62 and above. So NECAC and 3 Diamond Development are partnering. Both of these applications have previously been before you. They were competing. Now, after that last round where neither of them were funded, they decided to go in together and submit as one application. So.
Okay. That'll be resolution number 2482-23 to follow.
Here, just one thing. Some people had contacted me with questions and questioning why we needed to do this, et cetera, because they were under the belief from a news report or an article they had read that we had already donated the building when we went through this last round, and just wanted to point out and make sure that everybody understood what we had done. It was conditionally, we had entered into an agreement with those people if they had been able to get the tax funding that is necessary to make this project happen, government funds. That didn't happen. That's why we still have to do this, we're going to retain ownership of this property until such time as this project can go forward.
And it will so be again Yes.
if they don't hit the funding, we'll have to do it again.
Yes.
But there was confusion and some people have asked, and I wanted to make sure that
Okay.
we were clear why we were doing this, so people didn't think y'all were crazy.
Sure, thank you.
So, just to clarify, we haven't donated it, but we're agreeing to if and when the funding comes through.
Correct. The idea being that we would much rather have a good use of this property rather than the city have to spend $500,000 or more tearing the property down and then have a big bare lot. Our hopes is to get something where you have senior housing in this building, and that's our goal. So,
It's my understanding they've asked for letters of support. I've written one. I would urge all of you to. Also, they would know if they were successful sometime in December. Correct?
I think that's right, Mayor.
Good. Okay. Melissa Cockle, City Clerk, City Postage Agreement.
Sorry, lost my paperwork. All right. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, this is just asking, we are looking into changing our postage. We currently have a postage machine and a contract through Pitney Bowes, and I think the city has traditionally used Pitney Bowes for years and years. Pitney Bowes sells us a machine, and then they charge us for service calls, for the postage, for a quarterly maintenance agreement and that kind of thing. I think since Pitney Bowes, there has been a lot of advancement in postage, to where everybody has gone away from these humongous machines. The postage has recently made a change, and we will have to replace our machine in order to be in compliance and to be able to mail out. If we purchase this new machine, it would be about $3,316. Our meter service fee monthly would be about $38. Our meter service, which is billed quarterly, and we would have to sign for up to 5 years, would be $114 quarterly. And then our equipment maintenance is billed annually, is $333 plus some change. We do get a 3% or a 3-cent discount with Pitney Bowes on our postage. City manager Britta did a ton of research on this. We went out and got quotes from 4 different companies, looking around at different options where we could get away from having to purchase this machine than having to pay maintenance on this machine. And I think everybody's probably well aware there's tons of companies out there, but we really only looked at the very reputable companies that had been in business for years and years. And so after doing all of our research and everything, we would like to recommend that the council approve that we go with Stamps.com. Stamps.com only has a maintenance fee of $29.99 per month. Then we purchase all of our postage, which before with Pitney Bowes, we have to purchase our postage through them. With Stamps.com, we will purchase all of our own postage. We will be able to have up to 10 accounts, so that will make it a lot easier for our different departments, as courts and parks and that kind of thing, to be able to control their postage and that type of thing. We will can get up to 5 scales, so we can still do all the same shipping that we were able to do now, registered mail, that kind of thing. This will be a huge cost savings for the city, for the taxpayers. Would kind of bring us up to the 21st century with postage and the way we're handling postage and how much we're paying for it. So the ARP department would recommend that the council approve to sign a 12-month agreement with Stamps.com. And we would like to enter into this agreement. We've been just kind of living on our old contract with Pitney Bowes. I didn't renew the contract. I know everybody knows the clerk's office has been kind of crazy, so this just wasn't something that was important, but we are coming to December where we have to purchase this new meter now if we're going to stay with Pitney, or we need to sign a contract with Stamps.com if we're going to change, because we have till December the 31st to have one or the other in place.
Is there a discount to postage using stamps.com?
3 cents.
3 cents.
Same as Pitney.
Okay.
And we don't need to purchase the machine.
We do not, no machines. We will use our own printers. We will print out postage just straight off of, we'll use our computers, our printers, our software, everything right on our computers here. No machines or anything. So what you do is you buy sheets of postage and you just print the postage as you need it, stick it on your mail it out. Then when you need another, there's no advanced, with Pitney Bowes, we have to put, I believe, and I'm darn close of him, I believe it's $1,250. When we run out of money, we have to put $1,250 on our account. Then we use that down, and we put $1,250 on the account, then we use that down. So that's kind of currently the way with stamps.com. We'll purchase our sheets of postage when we need them, use them, then purchase our next sheet of postage, that type of thing.
So it streamlines the process.
Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Andy Doran, Director of Central Services. Got a host of items.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. We've got several items tonight. First up, the first two are pretty exciting, things that we've been working on for quite some time. Over the last several months, the Park Board, Parks Department, and the Friends of Riverview Park have been working to hire a architectural engineering firm to design a new Riverview Park master plan. Obviously, Riverview Park is our crown jewel. We've had it for over 100 years. Over the years, it's seen some decline with windstorms and landslides and things like that. So we went out for RFQ, we conducted several interviews, and we selected Planning and Design Studios, who will have several subcontractors to help us develop a Riverview Park master plan. As you guys can see in your packet, it's a very extensive plan that will take approximately 6 to 9 months to develop. It will incorporate some community involvement, council involvement, park board involvement, Preserve Riverview Park involvement, staff involvement. It'll be all encompassing. Specific things looking at forestry management, non-native species removals, the new entranceway, some recreational things. As most people know, most of the park is deed restricted, so there's not a lot of things that can be done. But when you look at like the washouts and the landslides on the trails, things like that. So our hope is to kind of look at all those different facets, come up with plans, and then have a really nice book to follow over the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years going forward to help with budgeting, to help with fundraising, et cetera. We have a very dedicated group of citizens who are helping us with this, and so we're excited. So we have a resolution to follow. This would be a $73,900 park master plan with planning, design, and studios.
Okay. Resolution number 2478-23.
Next up, as part of this was tabled last time. We had to make some modifications. We need to do a survey of the entire park, kind of looking at every aspect of the park. So we're going to enter into an agreement with Allied Engineering Services, LLC, selected by Planning Design Studios at a price of $16,500. And this will be the first survey of the park in many, many years.
Wow.
So.
That'll be resolution number 2481-23. Be interesting to see if they find how many old survey markers they find.
Yeah. Next up, we have the sale of city-owned property at 2010 Spruce Street to Robert and Sonia White for $575.
Okay. And that's resolution number 2479-23 to follow.
Next, we have approval of bid of 411 South Hayden Street. We had 2 bidders on this, with the high bidder being Michael Weathers at a bid of $800.
Okay. That's resolution number 2480-23 to follow.
And last up is the update on the rezoning of the ward maps. You guys have all seen that. The modifications were made to the Legion and to Daryl's sections. Everything else is as it was. So it is now in your hands to decide what to do with it.
Make a motion to accept the maps as currently drawn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Good.
Thanks,
Thank
Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Jacob Naki, Police Chief, Hannibal Police Department. Approval of bid for 2005 Chevrolet and
Just the sale of
Sale,
our used
okay.
vehicles. A while back, I came before council and requested that we surplus this vehicle. We went out and, like I said, it had 200, maybe 153,000 miles on it. Paint's peeling on it. So we received 2 bids on it. The high one was $656. Mr. John Mack, and we'd like approval to go ahead and release that. Accept that bid and let him purchase that vehicle. We can get it over.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Mike McCarr, Building Inspector. Set a public hearing for rezoning of 111 South 10th Street.
Last planning and zoning, George Lee made an application to rezone his property at 111 South 10th, which originally was 1 and 2 family. He zoned it to E-commercial. He wants to put it back to 1 and 2 family so he can turn the building back to a duplex. Planning and zoning requested, they set their meeting on Thursday, September 21st at 4 o'clock. They request that you all set public hearing October 3rd at 6:15.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Matt
you.
Munzinger, Director of Operations, Board of Public Works, Emergency Response Plan and Safety Manual.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. What I'm here to ask tonight is approval of Resolution 2476-23, 2477-23. That is approval of our emergency response plan and our safety manual. We're asking that for our application for the Reliable Public Power Provider, or RP3 award through the American Public Power Association. This is the fifth time we've applied for this award, and we've received it the previous 4 times. In 2017, we actually received a perfect score. It's just every 3 years we renew review our processes and procedures and submit that for their review and approval, just showing that we have the necessary measures in place to provide reliable public power. Have any questions of me tonight?
Questions?
Yeah, so what percentage of utilities that go through this receive a perfect score?
That I do not know because the criteria changes on the different submittal years. I do know that only about 10% of the municipals apply and receive this designation. So it is something we've held since I believe it was 2012.
So it's an honor. It's
It is an honor,
prestigious.
yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, now move to resolution number 2476-23. Need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So move.
Did I hear a second?
Yeah, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2476-23, a resolution authorizing the City Council of the City of Hannibal approving and endorsing the Hannibal Board of Public Works Emergency Response Plan. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes?
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2476-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Now I have resolution number 2477-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2477-23, a resolution authorizing the City Council of the City of Hannibal approving and endorsing the Hannibal Board of Public Works Safety Manual. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2477-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Now have resolution number 2478-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2478-23, a resolution authorizing the mayor pro tem to execute a $73,900 engineering architectural service agreement between the City of Hannibal and Planning Design Studios for the development of a park master plan for Riverview Park. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2478-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Now have resolution number 2479-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, a little bit. I just want to touch on these two folks real quick, Lonnie, Robert, and Sonia White. They are just great examples of community members. About 20 years ago, they chose to build a home on Spruce Street, and probably, I don't know when the last time a home was built on Spruce Street was, but I imagine they were the first in a long time. Since then, they've maintained their property, they've upgraded their property continually, and I have every confidence that they will continue to do so with this new adjoining property. They're great people, great role models, and hope more people are like them. So I'm glad to see them get this. That's all I got to say. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Resolution 2479-23, a resolution of the City of Hannibal authorizing the mayor to execute a special warranty deed to Robert and Sonia White for the sale of city-owned property located at 2010 Spruce in the amount of $575. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2479-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Now have resolution number 2480-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2480-23, a resolution of the City of Hannibal authorizing the mayor to execute a special warranty deed to Michael Weathers for the sale of city-owned property located at 411 South Hayden Street in the amount of $800. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2480-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Now have resolution number 2481-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 2481-23, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a $16,500 engineering service agreement between the City of Hannibal and Allied Engineering Services, LLC, for the boundary and topographic survey of Riverview Park. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2481-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. Now I have resolution number 2482-23. I need a motion to have the clerk read this resolution and call the roll for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 2482-23, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city council to support favorable consideration to be given for a housing tax credit award for adaptive reuse development to Northeast Community Action Corporation and Three Diamond Development LLC. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
I declare resolution number 2482-23 duly approved and adopted on this day. I need a motion to go into closed session in accordance with RSMO 610-21 subparagraphs 1 and 2, admitting myself, city council, city manager, city attorney, city clerk, Andy Dorian. I think that's the list. Need a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Councilmember McCoy?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Franke?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
And Councilmember Welch?
Yes.
Now closed session.